Sound check. Blink once if you can hear me. I'm gonna make sure that you can actually hear me before I start making stuff. Yay! We have sound! Huzzah! I don't know how long it's been. It's probably been like 10 days, maybe, since I was last alive here on YouTube. I've been dead for a while. I'm still kind of dead, to be honest with you. And, I cut my hair. It's pretty rough looking. I went a little bit too short, but I had a moment where I was like, fuck it. So we fucked it. To start things off on a lighter note, I've been wearing this ring on my left ring finger, and it's like left this kind of soggy spot because it's been so tight on my finger. I took it off today, but I've been really enjoying this ring. And then I've been wearing a gold ring that Mom left behind. I don't know why she had this wedding band, and I don't know if you can see, but it's actually adjustable, which is pretty snazzy. And it fits my other ring finger. I can't do more budget eats because that's Hearst property now, and I've been fired, and I can't touch that series anymore. That intellectual property belongs to Hearst. Please stop asking me to do budget eats. I will continue to do my own videos, but no more budget eats. Where we draw the line on intellectual property concerning YouTube video ideas, up for debate, right? But I'm not going to touch that name. I'm not going to touch that premise. I don't want to touch that premise. That part of my life is done. We did it for 2.5 years. I'm sick and tired of it. It's time to move on. And I've taught you guys all you need to know regarding how to make random shit out of random shit. So, for those of you who missed the news of me being fired last October, yes, I've been fired for over 4 months now. So I will no longer be developing any content of any sort for Delish, which is owned by Hearst, and I will probably never work with another Hearst brand again. Never say never, right? But corporate media is kind of a shit show right now. It is abusive and exploitative like most other corporations are. I'm sick and tired of it. I think I can live my life without working for corporate media or corporate anything, honestly, hopefully. Especially big conglomerate corporations like that. I don't want that shit in my life. So, does that mean throwing away conventional success? Yes. Does it bother me? Not really, because I've seen the belly of the beast and it is all acidic in there, and I really don't like being eroded away. So it ain't worth it. That's what I decided. If I were to die next year, I don't want to be spending this year working for companies that I don't jive with. So that's the way I'm looking at things now. Shall we make some dumplings? Yes, I know my hair needs some work, but I tried my best, okay? I made some dumpling dough. I actually fucked it up because I added way more water than the recipe called for, and now the dough is like very not according to a recipe. I just kept kneading in flour, so we'll see how it rolls out. And you will learn the origins of this tattoo in our next long form video, which I'm currently in the middle of editing, but I had to take on some part-time work, bills and stuff in terms of living expenses, so my life is kind of very fragmented right now, and so bear with me, shall we? Not that you have a choice in anything. Okay, I have some dried shiitake mushrooms soaking here in boiling water. We'll wait for that to soften. In the meantime, before we roll out this dough, I will be making some pork filling for Grandma, and we'll just use whatever it is that I have on hand in the fridge to make her dumplings. I don't really feel like discussing my part-time work for now, but it's like video related, basically. Maybe at a later time. Maybe at a later time. No promises. If I seem short and bitchy tonight, it's probably because I'm not doing great mental health wise. It's nothing personal, but I've been having a very rough go of it this month. So that's all. uh, You know how it is, guys. Happens to the best of us, happens to the worst of us, it happens to all of us. It is the most human thing to experience. I just wanted to throw it out there in case I'm not my normal and bubbly self. Not that I don't think I'm ever known for being normal and bubbly, am I? Jesus. Yeah, I'm gonna clean some scallions, chop it up for Grandma. I'm glad my videos help your mental health. Truly. It comforts me to know that. So thank you for sharing. I don't know how watching another depressed and anxious and stressed out person who has very irregular period cycles now due to various reasons I don't know helps you, but I'm glad it does. We don't have to understand the mysteries of life to appreciate them. We're just gonna tuck ourselves in. Hang on for dear life. Hope we survive one day after another. The haircut's rough, guys, but it looks a little better when I put it up. I just don't want to put it up now when it's still damp, because when I do that, it kind of sets my hairline in a very weird way. So I want to have it dry naturally. Because I cope so well. LOL. Okay, if you say so. You guys are hilarious. You must have very low standards of what it means to cope well, huh? Well, to let you see all of the picture, or at least let you hear all of the picture, because I can't really show you all those moments, I've been sleeping between 2 a.m. and 3:30 a.m. every day. I've been getting about 4 to 5 hours of sleep every night. I've been binging for about 2 hours every night before I go to sleep. It is horrendously bad. My mental health is dipping. I chopped off my hair. It gave me momentary release. I am very worried about how my body is going to cope with this sleep deprivation and lack of self-care, but I'm also recognizing the fact that I choose to do these things because that's what I need to do in the moment. Therefore, I do not try to guilt or shame myself for making those choices. I simply go along with it, and I observe myself making those choices and hope that one of these days, soon enough, I will get out of that pattern. But I have been in this carousel of depression, anxiety, binging, and body image issues for, I don't know, 2 decades now, and I think I finally learned how to not make it worse for myself by negatively judging and critiquing myself. Weed does help me sleep. Unfortunately, I can't really smoke it every night. It starts not working for me after like the 3rd straight day, so I have to take a break from it. CBD gummies don't really help me. They're very expensive. Melatonin I've never tried. I've heard that it's not really good for people with a history of kidney disease. I don't know if that's true or not. I just decided it's probably best if I stay away for now. Liver transplant approval, still waiting. Jesus. How long are they going to make you wait? How long can you wait? I don't even want to know the answer to that question, actually. I think it's going to be quite depressing. But you're welcome to share if you like. I still do the relaxation exercises with Grandma. I have zucchini here. I'm going to shred some. Just to act as another meat filler, because I don't have a whole lot of pork. I just have this tiny little bon moment jar of pork. Grandma doesn't really like her veggies, but if I dose it to her in small enough amounts and cover it up with meat, much like you would do with a child, she's okay with it, I think. I'm not sure. We are going to drain the shiitake soaking liquid into a container. Maybe I'll use it later for my own food. I don't know yet. Do you want to be closer to me? That might take away some of the reception from you. But I can't read comments right now when I'm so far away. Just letting you know in case I miss comments. And YouTube also isn't really showing me comments right now. Okay. Shredded zucchini. Then we will mince our soaked hydrated mushrooms. I feel like using my cleaver. You just lost your mom. Holy shit. Take care of yourself. That's all I can say. Don't forget to take care of yourself. You should not do what I'm doing, which is to use a wooden cutting board on a slidey surface. I probably should be putting a damp cloth underneath this cutting board right now. But I have not been doing many things I should be doing recently. So we have about an equal amount of shredded zucchini and chopped mushrooms. And I will go ahead and peel this carotte. I'm gonna move you closer. You let me know if the reception is horrible, but I'm gonna put you closer to me for now. You guys, read the description of the live. Do you ever read the description of the lives? I try to tell you what I'm making there. Or do you just want to keep asking me for information I already gave you? Yeah, I am giving you massive shade right now. The video quality is a lot worse now. Okay, I'll move you back. Fine. I can be mean whenever I want, and you can leave whenever you want. You'll know by now that because I don't have internet, because Spectrum is the only service provider in my building, that all of the lives will be shitty quality. It's just a matter of like potato shit or like mashed potato shit. Sometimes it's mashed potato shit, and I can't help it. We have carrots now. Next, I'm going to grate a clove of garlic. As well as some really dry ginger. It is fresh ginger, it's just extremely dry because I keep it out on the counter and it's turned into like dried ginger. I don't think I've shown my new tattoo before, but it is not a paw print, or at least it is not intentionally a paw print, but it's interesting that you think it is a paw print. I think it's actually a trio of like these really round Lorax reminiscent plants, but I'll show you after I'm done grating this ginger with my nail shavings embedded in there now. Whoops. Is this still a potato? It's flowers, I think, or trees, or plants, some sort of plant life. Flanked by 2 water vases. So that's what it looks like. But, you know, if it's a paw print, it's a paw print, whatever you guys think it is. I don't care. I will move closer to you then. Hi, Canada. Hi, Brazil. Yeah, Aaron's been telling me to check out Google Fi. I just haven't had enough energy to. I know it's probably an option. I don't know the details, but I'll look into it sometime. I'm just trying to not overwhelm myself, you know? There is enough overwhelming me now, and I don't need one more thing to make these lives feel more like work. So That's that. I'm going to add in a touch of soy sauce and a little bit of white vinegar and a little bit of MSG and a little bit of salt and sesame oil. Grandma likes sesame oil. White pepper, very essential. And what else? Maybe a little pinch of citron peppercorn, ground, a little dash. I think that's it. Oh well. I was gonna put some sugar in, but I think I just ran out. I don't have sugar. Womp womp. That's too bad. Grandma will have to deal with that. So now we are just going to mix everything together. How's the quality right now, by the way? Let me know. Until it's cohesive. I just opened the window up. Not sure if that's gonna do anything, but. There's like someone's phone ringing in the distance. It's kind of creepy. I don't know if you can hear it. Might actually have to do with the reception in the kitchen. Honestly, my kitchen is unfortunately blocked by two different intersecting facades. So I don't know if that has anything to do with it. I don't know anything about cell towers. While I mix this filling together, I'm gonna make some water for tea, I think. Does this mean the friendship is over? I don't know. That's a really tough question. I think you guys need to have a talk. If you feel like they're not reciprocating your texts with as much frequency, it could be that they have personal issues where their life is really fucking busy and they just can't prioritize communicating with you, or that they don't want to hear from you. I don't know. I can't diagnose that. The only thing you can get straight of an answer from is that person. So unfortunately, you're gonna have to do the hard, awkward work if you want to know the answer of asking them. You can't not sound needy and be needy though, right? Like truthfully speaking, your desire for answers is a sort of neediness, and I'm not labeling neediness as bad. I am also a very needy person in friendships and relationships, and I like direct answers. So if it's worth it for me to get the answer, then I'm gonna have to ask it. It's hard. The video is bad, but I'm watching anyway. Okay. You guys sure you're not on the auto setting? If your quality setting is set to auto, sometimes it will give you the lowest possible quality. So just fidget with your little settings and see if you can up the quality. Otherwise, if it's already at 720p, not much I can do about it. Sorry. It could also be really bad quality right now because I'm moving a lot. It seems like whenever I have too much motion in the frame, the quality goes out. So but I figured since some of you were like worried about where I was, I put on a live. Honestly, I wasn't feeling too much like a live, which might explain why I sound so short and bitchy tonight. But I'm here, so if you want to be here, you can be here. If you don't want to be here, you don't gotta be here. That's all I'm saying. I'll stay far away. Here. Here we go. I'll stay far away. Is the quality better now? Basically what I want to do to the protein strands is make the meat into mush. That way it turns gluey and it makes the filling more cohesive and lumpable. If the proteins aren't worked up like this into like a slurry, all of the shredded vegetables and the little minced mushrooms will just fall out of the filling and make it that much harder for you to crimp together into the dough. So I'm gonna switch arms. I'm gonna give this other arm some love too, although this feels way more awkward. What I'm gonna do is, because mushrooms have a lot of natural umami and MSG, I'm going to pour in like a tablespoon of this mushroom soaking liquid, and this will also help us work up the proteins a little bit more and make the dumplings a little bit more juicy. It's Ram gave this to me. It's a little hair tie. I'm waiting to put my hair up. Two tablespoons of liquid. Can you hear it? I did not know that about mushrooms. Is that true or fake news? Did you also know that mushrooms are not plants? That's what I learned at farm school this week. Mind blowing. I'm gonna put this in the fridge to let it set and chill a little bit while we roll out our dough. dough. Maybe I should roll it out on the counter here. Let's wipe this counter up. Let's use this space that we have, this luxury. How privileged I am now. All right. I love Waking Life, or at least I used to. Richard Linklater used to be one of my favorite directors. Yeah, you guys have to change your own picture quality. That's on you, bro. That's on you. All right, it's time to tie the hair. Green water is buckwheat matcha tea. Y'all are not paying attention. I haven't used the split casserole dish thing yet. Buckwheat tea tastes like toasty grains. It's very nice. I do have a Dutch oven. Guys, because I am tired as fuck, we will not be making traditional dumpling dough rounds. I don't have energy or time for that. What we're gonna do is just roll out this dough, and I'm going to chop it into roughly this size, and then we're just gonna squish dumplings together. They're gonna look horrendous, but Grandma loves eating them, and there's absolutely no point in me spending more time to make them perfectly shaped, because that's not the point. If you made your dumpling dough correctly, you should not need to have any extra flour on your workbench. It should not stick. It should not crack. But if you did make it too wet, you can always throw some flour on your workbench. I'm gonna try to roll this out as thin as possible. One, because I can get more dumplings out of them that way, and two, because Grandma has fewer and fewer strong teeth every day, and I would imagine a thick dough would be hard for her to chew through. So thinner is good for her and for me. Any questions? No, okay. If I don't see my name pop up in yellow from very far away, I'm going to assume no questions. If you want to ask me something, please tag my name so I can see it in yellow or orange. Orange. It comes up in orange. Otherwise, I'm just going to keep rolling my dough here. Is the picture quality any better? It is? Okay. Yo, fuck situationships. Ain't nobody got time for situationships. Nobody. Hello. By the way, I'm not an expert dumpling maker. So if you're looking for technique, do not learn from this video. There is absolutely no technique here. I'm just trying to roll this dough out as thin as possible, starting from the center of the dough and pushing outwards. It is much easier to make your edges thinner and the center will stay thick. So this is something that I learned from my pastry chef Diana when I used to work in restaurants, to always start rolling from the middle out. That way you are distributing the thickness evenly. And you can't really make the edges thinner once you go too thin. So if that is of concern, concentrate on the middle first, and then concentrate on the edges. Any questions? Any questions? Has everyone been watching my lives on auto? You need to figure it out, guys. You need to click on 720p. Sometimes my stream are really terrible video quality, like really terrible, and sometimes they're actually okay. So always try to fidget with your settings a little bit. and check that you're not on auto, because auto is like, what, 180 or 360p? Sometimes 480 maybe? I don't know, man. I don't know these things. Something about rolling out this dumpling dough is that once I have it to the thinness I want, I should definitely let it rest a little bit before I cut it, because right now the gluten is very tight, and as soon as I cut it, it will probably start shrinking back a little bit, which is not what I want. So I would say for me, a really ideal dumpling dough texture to the touch should feel like nubuck leather. It should feel very smooth, and it should feel dry, but not like powdery, supple. A supple kind of dryness, which is probably an oxymoron of sorts, but. Okay. I have been trying to go to the gym, yes. It helps, but there's just too much shit going on in my life right now that I'm defaulting on my disordered eating habits. And I'm not very proud of it, but it is what it unfortunately is for now. But thank you for the suggestion. Exercise is wonderful. I've also been taking walks. I've basically been doing all the things that I can do for myself, but sometimes life just sucks enough that you can't really master every single day to be as ideal as you want it to be, and that is okay. That has to be okay, right? Because if you make yourself feel worse, you make yourself feel worse. And then what do? So. All right. I have some old dumpling filling that I didn't end up using last time, so I'll start with this first. Let me use my little pasta cutter to trim out our dumplings. They're like ravioli. They're not really dumplings, but they'll be fine. Let me see if I can roll this out even more. All right, so maybe I will just cut them and roll them out a little bit wider, because we started basically with a piece this big, and then after just a few more rolls, it became slightly larger and thinner, so this will work. We'll work with this. I also like to keep a tiny dish of water nearby, just in case the dumpling skin needs a little more sealant. Let me grab a tiny spoon, like this. Actually, Actually, let's go with this one. I try to give Grandma as much filling as I can, but I also don't want to overwhelm it. This is probably too much, yes. So, this is better. I can't spend time doing that many crimps, so it's just going to be, whoop, that dumpling broke. We're gonna fold it over, and we're gonna pretend that didn't happen, and then this is it. This is gonna be the ugly dumpling that Grandma will eat. Congratulations on emptying out your blackhead. I'm very excited for you. We're just gonna be doing this for the next 40 minutes probably, so settle in for a whole lot of nothing. I love these organic shapes. Oh my god, they keep ripping. No. I guess I can't make them that thin, I think I just made these dumpling skins too thin. I will try to not roll them out anymore. As long as it's sealed and hopefully not ripped, you're fine. Shape really doesn't matter. Hi, Quebec. So anyway, what's been going on in life? Any news? By the way, you'll see this in the next long form video, but the HarperCollins strike, I think they have reached a tentative agreement on their contract, which is great news. Finally, management is now negotiating with them. Very glad to hear it. That's my little happy update for y'all. Damn, that cracked again. I think the dough is also a little too dry, maybe. So let me do something. Let me go ahead and layer all the pieces of dough on top of each other so that there's less surface area for each one to dry out on. That should always be. I think this also has to do with the fact that I really did not make this dough according to my usual ratios, unfortunately. So it is causing some issues in the structural integrity of our final product. Tiny dumpling. That also cracked. Jesus. This feels like a big fuck you, honestly, from life. Can't even make dumplings right this week. You think these dumplings are beautiful? Look again, my friend. They're a disaster. Don't worry, though. Grandma will eat them. And all will be well in the land. So what I'm doing is just dabbing both sides with a little finger tap of water. That way I'm moistening the dough, hopefully enough that it doesn't continue cracking. But I think my number one fault was letting the dough dry out too much, which leads to a lot more cracking. Ooh, are we headed into another world war? We shooting down planes now? That's cool. That's exciting. All the things we could be doing with our life. We choose war. Well, war is ongoing all the time in our heads, isn't it? I don't think war has to result in, you know, actual dead people to be war. I think as soon as the idea exists, there is already a war. Dumpling making is a great activity to do with friends, family. It also goes by way faster if you have multiple people working on it at the same time. So just FYI, grab a buddy when you make dumplings. Make it a communal sport. I have been thrifting, but you guys know I can't literally record every single moment of my life. It takes a lot of effort to carry out a camera and carry it the whole day. I think a lot of people have this idea that just making videos is so easy because the content is so casual and lifestyle, but it's not all that easy breezy sometimes. Also, something that I've been thinking about is when do you start living and stop making content, you know? I think Grandma really likes dumplings. This is probably her favorite. I mean, she also likes youtiao a lot, but she's been eating it literally every day, so I'm sure at this point she's a little sick of it. It's just that dumplings are a lot more labor intensive to make, so I can't really make them for her every week. However, the reason why I started making dumplings for her is because she told me that she thought she was dying. Now, whether or not Grandma actually thought she was dying or Grandma was just manipulating me, I will never know, but she's doing much better now. Last week, she wasn't doing so great. She could also just be suffering from seasonal depression like the rest of us. I don't really know. Keep in mind that she's also 95. There's a lot of body ailments that come with that age. first round of ugly dumplings done. Yes, they're baby sized. I'm gonna portion out some filling in this jar and then put the rest back in the fridge. So I don't want meat sitting out for too long. Yeah, I'm sure being cooped up inside isn't great, and the weather's been a little bit cold recently, so I haven't been able to take her out on her morning walks always. I'm sure that made her anxious too. She also has COPD, so you know her breathing gets a little sketchy. Also, the facility is like very heated right now indoors because it's winter, and I think the heating aggravates her breathing. So there's a lot of reasons. I'm not gonna worry too much about it. We're all just doing the best that we can, and that's all we can do. These are looking much better. Takes you a while to get the hang of it, even if you made it many times before. Sometimes you just need to be a little patient. Cute, huh? I mean, the difference between a dumpling and a wonton is just the size of filling, honestly. I'm not gonna make more dough. Not tonight, no. Whatever I get through, I'll get through, and if I have to freeze the filling, I'll freeze the filling. I've made mooncakes before. There's a video on Delish. You should check it out. Can't make new videos for you guys every time. You should Google them. I have made angel cake. I have not had great success with it. I think I need more practice to make it better, but honestly, I'm not a big fan of angel cake, so I'm probably not going to make it again soon. Of course I'm gonna get more tattoos, but I need some more money first. I gotta make money to spend money. That's the way this world works, honey. gonna show you the shoulder tattoo because you've been asking too much, and I'm bitchy tonight, and I don't feel like catering to you. I've shown it earlier in the live, and you can always rewind later. I'm sorry. Okay? I'd be curious to know if people are just like, maybe when you're bitchy June, you shouldn't go live. Or if people are just like, yeah, be whatever you want to be. I wasn't responding to you for family, I was responding to someone else. But you see how the internet can make us so aggravated at each other. People take things very personally. And honestly, I don't know if you guys caught this, but a couple of weeks back on my Instagram, a random follower sent me several DMs about how she was suicidal, and I tried to comfort her and talk with her, but it became clear that she just wanted to like offload onto me. And I told her after that first interaction that I've given her all the resources I can, and I can no longer continue any conversations with her regarding this matter because it was starting to impact my mental health. And a few days later, she reached out again, telling me that she had committed suicide or tried to, and that she was back with her abuser and under like house watch. And I was just like, I don't know what you want me to do with this information. And then this devolved into a whole series of stories on my Instagram regarding whether or not people should respect my boundaries, and it turned into a lot of people blaming me for not doing enough for the stranger halfway across the world. She wasn't in the US. And turned into people blaming me for posting anonymized screenshots of that interaction. And I even put up one poll regarding whether or not it is whether or not my boundaries should be respected, and whether or not people should seek consent from me before DMing me. And like a significant amount, anywhere from 40 to 60 something percent said no, that my consent in these interactions was not important at all. And that was the point at which I was just like, fuck social media. Like, that's not cool. I am not obligated under any circumstances to do anything for anyone, especially strangers halfway around the world. I am not indebted to anyone. I am not getting paid for these services. I did not say I was going to be anyone's therapist. I'm simply doing what I want to do, and if you're along with it, great. And if you don't like it, leave. That's it. I need to protect myself because this world is fucking ruthless. And I've gone through a couple of interactions, both in person and virtual, with all of these asks being offloaded onto me, and I'm just not cool with it anymore. There has to be a limit drawn to what I can give as a person. We had that disastrous earthquake go down in Turkey. I've been asked by several people over DM, hey, can you post a story with this link to help people donate to relief efforts? And I just didn't respond because what the fuck is me posting these links going to do in the grand scheme of things? And do I have an obligation to post everything? I don't think so. Why? Why should I have an obligation? And to what effect would I have? What impact would I have in the grand scheme of things? Sure, if I wanted to, I could, but am I obligated to? I don't consider it my obligation. And then I get smacked with DMs that say, oh, it is so American of you to think this way, and it's all about the individual, and you don't give a shit about the collectivity well-being. And I'm just like, that ain't helping either. To place blame on the individual because the individual is not doing enough for the collective, it is itself an individualism. That itself is a paradox. It is a contradiction. It is like unacceptable to me that I would basically get bullied with strangers' moralities on social media. And it is insidious because it worms its way into my brain and tells me I'm not a good enough person. And it destroys me. Slowly, softly, kindly, but it destroys me. And there comes a point in the interaction at which I notice how downtrodden I've become. And that I simply can't take it anymore. So, I have my limits too. You may think it's a small thing you're asking for, but you're just one person asking me for this. I have multiple people asking me for things all the time. How do I fulfill everyone's request all the time? I didn't even fulfill my own mother's request all the time. And because she died so early and unexpectedly, I feel so much guilt for it. Now, do I need to pile on the guilt of strangers? No. I don't fucking think so. I have people, hey, you know what? It's okay. This is the way the internet works. You can DM me. I'm just saying I have no moral obligation to acquiesce and agree to everything that is asked of me. You don't need to apologize. That's just how social media works. But I'm making it clear that I have my limits, and it does damage my self-esteem and my self-perception sometimes when people ask a lot of me and I can't always fulfill their orders. Because I was raised to be, unfortunately, a people pleaser, like a lot of us are. And when I can't please someone, even if I don't know them, it triggers a guilt reflex in me, and it wears me down over time. That is something that I have to work on myself. It is not your fault at all. I do not put the responsibility on other people to be responsible for how I feel, how I interpret things, how I process things. That is, unfortunately, on me. Now, if I were in a community with people where these rules are shared beforehand, yeah, that would be a shared responsibility. But as is, I never placed clear community guidelines, so to speak, about how to interact with me. But since that suicidal DM, I have a post pinned on my Instagram grid explaining every single thing that would happen when you DM me with requests. I am not obligated to respond to any of them. I am not obligated to share anything you tell me to share. If you DM me on Instagram, I will possibly take a screenshot, anonymize it, meaning I don't include anything that would identify you, and post it on my stories, because you interacted with me without asking my consent, and therefore you invaded my space. And if you invade my space, then that space becomes part of my expression and my playground too. So my reasoning is I do with that communication what I will. I will respect you in terms of anonymity, and I also posted on that particular guideline post that if you ask me specifically in clear terms that you don't want me posting it on my stories, I will also respect that, but you have to make that known to me. So that was a great learning experience for me, and at the same time in life, I was also met with a situation where my boundaries were repeatedly being broken, and it was just like a 2-for-1 whammy in January for me. And I realized that like I had not drawn clear boundaries enough to protect myself, and I needed to make them even clearer to protect myself. It is exhausting, guys, to learn the rules that have not been laid out and agreed upon. In a playground as immense and vast as social media, it is insane. So that's a lot of what's been going on behind the scenes. So that's why I haven't gone live a lot. I've been processing a lot. Shit has gone down on social media and shit has gone down in my personal life, and I simply need time and space to digest it all. And I still don't think I've climbed out of the lion's den, so to speak, of my own falsehoods and my own imaginary beliefs and fantasies, and I continue to exist along fantasy lines that unfortunately I don't think are productive or healthy for me. But that's something that I'm gonna process between me, myself, and I, and my therapist. And when I have some sort of clearer conclusion or breakthrough or redrawing of the self, I'm sure it will come up in a video, edited or not. And you know, like, social media can be used for good, social media can be used for bad, but I think a lot of the times we're just all very confused about what it should be used for. And I think part of that is because we all feel so fucking helpless in this world, that we're just like, oh yeah, social media, instant gratification. Like, you ask someone to share something and they share it, and then donations roll through, and bing, bang, bang, you're done, right? You've done your good deed for the day, for the week, for the month. You're a good person. You can calm yourself of the anxiety you feel about where this world is burning up into. I understand that. I feel that. I'm also with you on that. But unfortunately, a lot of the world's shit, it will just continue to be shit no matter how much you echo chamber it on social media. Does the echo chamber of social media help? Yes, of course it can. But it's not the end all be all. Remember that it is only one outlet. The world exists beyond this one outlet. There is a bigger playground where shit is going down. So that's all I'm saying. And I don't want to be a superhero. I never asked to be a superhero. I don't want to be a superhero. I don't think I can be capable of being a superhero because I'm just not a superhero. And I'm okay with that. But I'm not okay when people think that I am a superhero, and that when I reject them, it's simply because I'm refusing to play up my powers. I don't have those powers. Like, those are imaginary powers that strangers have concocted in their minds about me. I'm just another fucked up human being. I'm trying to convince myself that, like, this life is somehow worth living. And these days, sometimes it don't feel like it. Now, to be clear, I'm not suicidal. I don't want you worrying about me for no reason. But I'm just saying this world fucking sucks dick sometimes, okay? That's all. And I want us to acknowledge that and be okay with that and not run around thinking that it's gonna be this miserable forever. I mean, the conditions of the world will unfortunately stay this way until we figure out an alternative, and I don't think we will. Not in my lifetime, at least. But mentality-wise, if you just allow yourself to surrender to the unideal situations, it will become a lot easier to handle. Most of the time, the struggle is inside you. And you make it worse than it has to be. I think about these days what I'm willing to do to change a situation for the better. And if I don't have the personal resources or the willingness to actually take action, then I'm not going to bother myself with it. I've spent too long in life guilt-tripping myself, and it was all very self-destructive and unproductive and defeating in a lot of ways. So oftentimes when people ask me to share shit on social media, my first question for them is, what do you hope me sharing this will achieve? What is the significance of me sharing this? I will ask them for their reasoning. I will ask them to do some mental processing regarding why they think me sharing this on my social media will impact more than me not sharing it on my social media. A lot of the times, I also don't want to share stuff because I don't want to be virtue signaling, you know? Like, we've done so much of that since 2020. I don't think the world has gotten to a better place, honestly. I think in a lot of ways, we have backtracked, and I feel defeated. I don't know about you guys, but I feel fucking exhausted and defeated, and I truly don't see a point sometimes. So I only share on social media causes that I'm personally involved in or that I feel motivated enough to echo chamber. But like, if you read the news, you know that Turkey suffered an earthquake. And if you're the type of person who would donate to help that kind of situation, you would have donated already. Me posting something on my social media, what does that even communicate? There's also a sense of like toxic urgency when it comes to social media, you know? Like, people jump on a bandwagon when they see other people reposting shit. They're like, oh yeah, I gotta repost that too. Guilty as charged. I did that for a very long time. And then I was like, do I really need to be another person posting this shit? I don't know, maybe it would help. Maybe I am just being a bitch. I truly don't know. Anything's possible. But sometimes it's okay to be a bitch. Sometimes it's necessary to be a bitch. Sometimes, especially when you're dealing with unmovable injustices and systems being reinforced by literally everything else that runs this world, or you're dealing with a specific asshole in your life, you need to be a bitch. You need to stand up for yourself, because a bitch is just a name that implies a certain kind of morality. And morality is a classist thing sometimes. Morality is not equally applied to everyone. Some of us can't afford to be moral. I'm gonna check up on our battery power here. Oh, you're not annoying me. I'm just annoyed by the world. 36%. Oh. Gotta plug you in. In a lot of ways, I can make the argument that every day I'm the only person who annoys me, you know? Are we back? I am on one tonight. I'm on a lot of things tonight. Mainly just discontent, depression, and anger. Could also be PMS. My boobs have been sore for a whole week, and my period isn't here, you know? So, like, what is going on with my body? I don't know, but my hormones are definitely fucked up. For the people who are joining a live stream for the first time, I'm so sorry. You got a very weird June tonight. She's always weird, but she's very weird tonight. And like, not in a sugary weird way, in like an acerbic way. But who do you blame? Do you blame me? Do you blame my hormones? Do you blame the world? Do you blame all of the above? Or do you just not blame at all? Because blame is not really actually gonna do anything, you know? Is it healthy or unhealthy to experience my emotions this intensely? Kathy, I would say just experience them, and if they completely drain you of energy, maybe think about whether or not that practice is sustainable. But if it makes you feel good, then pay attention to that. Don't let external guidelines of what is normal dictate how you live. If you want to fucking cry, you should fucking cry. Just make sure that it restores you at the end of the day and isn't destroying you at the end of the day. So that's why. Hormone issues are definitely related to COVID. My cycle has not been accurate, like timely, ever since I got COVID. So, you know, we're just gonna play the cards as they fall. I have no other way of navigating life anyway, so when my period comes, my period will come. When my death comes, my death will come. That's it. I've been watching a lot of videos of like YouTube therapists, and I've been concentrating a lot on personality disorders and narcissistic personality disorders, and it's very interesting. Something that popped out, I think, in the comment section of one of those is when people get angry at you for setting boundaries, it's because they never respected your boundaries to begin with. So that's a very useful thing for me to absorb. Watching those videos is also really helpful for me because even if I'm not like diagnosed to be a narcissistic personality disorder, even just paying attention to what those traits show up as teach me what not to be in terms of interacting with other people. Like, we all have those toxic traits in us. I do too. I exhibited a shit ton of them when I was still in a relationship with Aaron. I'm looking back on it and I'm like, yeah, I was definitely not a good person some of those times. And it's been really helpful for me to gain awareness of how those habits form, the potential reasoning for why those habits form, how they can be basically a stagnant sort of coping mechanism that fossilized into place and became that person's normative mode of operations. So enlightening. Those videos are very enlightening. I think I've said this before. I think my personality has definitely changed a lot since Mom died. And I don't think I've become a more humble person per se, but I've become a person who is perhaps more willing to change herself because of how much guilt I experienced from Mom dying so soon and feeling like I really didn't treat her well enough while she was alive. And not to say I'm like a fucking perfect angel, I'm certainly not, but it's been fascinating to see myself be way more malleable than I ever thought I was capable of being. And it's kind of fun to feel like I'm this elastic sometimes that I can chameleon myself and perhaps try on different kinds of personalities and try on different types of selves, the way that we try on clothes to see if they fit, to see if we like them. And sometimes we surprise ourselves when our taste in clothing or food changes and we didn't see that change coming. And sometimes those changes can be frightening, and they certainly have frightened me from time to time. But I'm also thinking that they're kind of a blessing because now I get to not necessarily reinvent myself, but break out of the prison that I've been in under no one's control but my own for a very long time. Highly recommend it. You don't have to stay who you've always been. That in itself is an illusion. are we feeling? There is pork and carrot and zucchini and mushrooms in this current filling. Ginger, garlic, scallions, seasoning. And see, I answered that question this time because I was like, I can answer it. I have the mental bandwidth to do it. But I think if you had asked me when I was even more fired up earlier, I would have been like, just rewind and watch it later. And I think it's okay to allow ourselves to have our energies fluctuate. You can't always be a giving person. And yes, oh my gosh, it was just a simple question, June. Don't make a big deal out of it. I know some of you are thinking that. But have you ever heard of burnout? And it's so funny to see people take my comments tonight so personally. Imagine getting hundreds of comments on all of your videos from strangers. You don't like a taste of your own medicine? I worry about everything eroding my sense of self, but now I'm also not worried about my sense of self eroding because I just go with the flow when I have to. Everything erodes our sense of self constantly. It's just whether or not we welcome that sort of erosion. For example, I think when you fall in love and you start living with a partner, you are willing to let your sense of self erode and kind of coalesce together with your new partner because you love them and you find the process of becoming transformed with the other person to be exciting. And I think when a sense of self is being eroded through something like work, that worries you because you aren't willing. You didn't give consent to be eroded. And in a lot of ways, that's my social media is I both gave consent and I didn't give consent to a lot of scenarios that happen on social media. So it's like being on social media as a person who has any sort of following is kind of like being subjected to a sort of social media rape culture. It's like a lot of people are just like, well, you chose to put yourself out there. Like you chose to give all these personal details of your life. So, you know, you asked for it. You remember when we had the conversation about rape culture a few years ago? And it was, you know, in the discourse, so to speak, about how consent is ongoing and it has to be positive consent and not just the absence of negative rejection. But I think we don't apply that logic to most things that happen in life. You know, like when people sign contracts at work, they just sign their life away, right? Like our legal systems have formulated this way of slaving us. Like we're enslaved by these things. We gave consent when we wanted to give consent, but there's no way for us to like rescind that consent when we decide, hey, this is actually not cool and I don't want to be a part of this anymore. We're enslaved to it. That's the legal system we've set up for ourselves. There's no escape. Like we live entirely in a rape culture. Not just when it comes to sexual things. everything about our society, even the moral, legal, just things are rapey. Very rapey. These are just very ugly dumplings. If you want to call them wontons, sure, call them wontons. I truly don't really even know if there's a difference. I think wonton wrappers tend to be a lot thinner, the filling tends to be a lot smaller, it tends to be served in soup, but you know, it's all the same shit. It's like a flour wrapper hugging a filling that you boil or fry. You know, there's less of a difference between a Chinese wonton and a Chinese dumpling than there is between Chinese dumpling and like Southern American dumpling. Like those aren't even dumplings, they're just literal balls of batter. There's no filling in American dumpling. When I first learned about American like chicken and dumpling, I was like, what the hell is this shit? That's not a dumpling. I was so confused. I was like, how can you call this a dumpling? There's no fillings inside. Same thing with job descriptions. Just because people have a title doesn't mean they know how to do that job. Have you seen our government? Government? What do they govern, really? If we learned anything tonight, it's that you should do your utmost to make sure your dumpling wrappers don't dry out, because dried out dumpling wrappers means cracking dumplings, means dumplings that will fall apart during the cooking process. That's your takeaway. That and don't fucking send me suicidal DMs anymore. That's the other takeaway. There's no leeks, it's just scallions, carrots, and zucchini. I didn't get fully censored by Meta, but I'm sure they have me on a blacklist somewhere. I've been shadow banned like 3 times on Instagram in the last 2 years, so. Sooner or later, it's only a matter of time before I get disappeared on social media. And if our society trends the way it's been trending with censorship state, maybe we'll start turning into China where people actually start getting disappeared in real life. There's various reasons for why you get shadow banned on Instagram if you're not familiar with the platform. Many different creators who have very political content, you know, like pro-Palestine, for example, accounts, they've been suspended, banned, deleted. It's just, there's no rhyme or reason. They're a private corporation. They have all this data. They can do whatever the fuck they want with everything that you put on their platforms. It's their property. So, you know. Grandma's fine. She's alive. That's all I can say right now. I don't know what you expect out of a 95-year-old woman with severe lung issues who wants to go back home, but can't. So, that's the situation. That's also why I hate getting asked that question, and you don't have to apologize. I'm just making it clear how I feel about getting asked that question, because it triggers a sort of unhappiness and guilt inside me that I'm not doing more for Grandma, and that's on me, not you. But, you know, every time somebody asks me, how's Grandma doing, I'm just like, what do you want me to say? Same old shit. That's also why I don't like being asked, how are you? In general, that question is, like, very loaded. Like, too loaded, you know? Like, you're asking me how I am? Like, there's so many ways to tackle that question, and yet I think you just want me to say I'm okay. Nobody wants to know the real truth of how I'm doing, right? It's too much. It's too much. They never actually care about the answer. Yeah, it's not just in the UK, it's in the US too. It's just like a more extensive version of hi, how are ya? Like, I don't want to just say good and walk by. I fucking hate social norms, you know? Social norms are like the ultimate emperor's clothes, where we're just so afraid of getting penalized for not following them that we all just complicitly agree to keep doing these nonsensical things, even though we know there's nothing underneath there. That's why social norms piss me off. All it takes is for us to communally say, yo, this shit makes no sense. Can we change it? But unfortunately, some people are so invested in terms of self-identity into these norms, and that they've lived their entire lives trying to uphold these norms, that they take it personally and become offended that you would even suggest doing something else. Yet another reason why the self is a prison, not only for you, but for everyone else. It's often not enough that we are trapped ourselves, because when we become trapped, we want company. We're social animals. And so when we sense that we are trapped, we try to trap other people with us. And that's when you start infringing upon people's freedom. Sometimes if the people who want to infringe on other people's freedoms for their own insecurities are in power, they succeed in oppressing literally everyone. So everyone who's a bad guy is probably people who have the power to be a bad guy. They have the ability to put their desires as rules down for everyone else. I don't think Aaron's invested in sports balls anymore because the Bills lost, so they're not in the playoffs. Is it Super Bowl tomorrow? Is it already time for the Super Bowl? Boring. Super Bowl is boring. I'll hopefully be taking a walk to Greenpoint tomorrow. No ball for me. Not invested at all. Nature in New York City? Have you been here? We have flying rats? I've not experienced those yet. Oh, I guess pigeons? Is that what you're referring to? Yeah, they're pretty much flying rats. They're really dumb though. I think rats are way smarter than pigeons. Yes, the cloisters are actually a great getaway in the 5 boroughs. But it also takes me a while to take the train up there. Food chain restaurants that turn me off. I mean, they all kind of do just because of their business practices, but I would say Olive Garden because I waited like 2 decades. No, I waited like 2.5 decades to try it, and then I finally tried it, and I was like, this is shit. And so it destroyed my childhood dream. My fantasies. If you want to keep your fantasies pristine, don't ever live them out in reality. domesticated rats too, if that's your standard. Rats can perform a lot of tricks. I'm also using a different phone tonight, Linda. This phone has better image quality, but unfortunately doesn't work too well with my SIM card, so it's kind of a trade-off. So, you know. The other phone has crapped out on me a couple of times doing these lives. I think it might be on its last legs. I'm actually ordering a new phone. So hopefully the image quality will be a little more stable after the new phone arrives, but we'll see. Still no internet. Manage your expectations. Everything can be a tax write-off. I just need to know how to write it off. I'm probably gonna have to hire a tax guy again. I don't know how to do any of this shit, and I don't want to bother my broken little brain with it either. It's worth paying for at this point. One thing that Mom's dad has told me is that if you can pay for it, you should. Because she never paid for shit that she needed, and then she died. So, not gonna do that to myself. I'm gonna try to make enough money to keep the lights on, but that's it. And hopefully have enough money to hire a tax guy. All right, last two dumps. Next, we're going to cook some tomatoes that are frozen and defrosted because they were close to getting moldy. How much filling are you? That's it. Last dump. Go in the freezer. Hi, Bangkok. Okay. Oh, I should have defrosted my chickpeas, and I did not. It's probably a little too late now. I think what I wanted to do was make a little tomato sauce with braised chickpeas and some beet greens that I have. But if the chickpeas aren't defrosted, I suppose what I could do is just start defrosting them while I cook the tomato sauce. Microwave. Not in a plastic container. Okay. Are we ready to treat ourselves to some trash food? After 2 hours of grandma dumplings. Oh, and I have this brown rice. Are you still good? Yes. Good. I'm glad you're still good. We have zucchini, we have carrots. We have these beet greens that are really not doing great, actually. Ugh, gross. I think these might have to go in the trash. Sorry, buddies. You've been in there for too long. Not willing to risk my stomach for you. Okay, this should be easy enough. I'm going to heat this up. I'm going to add a little oil. We're going to put some garlic. Why is my pot see-through? Because I'm cool. Duh. I'm going to spice this with a little bit of gochugaru. I bought 2 bags of discounted apples today for $1 each. Some of them have soft spots, but I can just turn them into applesauce or cut out the soft spots and just eat the rest of them fine. Apples have gotten pretty expensive. Standard price now is I think $1.29 to $1.99 per pound. So to get like a bag of 5 apples for $1 is a pretty good deal, even if I have to toss like a quarter of it away. So. I'm just chilling. Don't mind me. I'm tired. I'm hoping to go to bed in an hour. I just want to not be conscious anymore. PC is up and running. I've already edited 2 small videos for a client on it. So it works. If you were a villain to fight the system of life, what's your superpower? There's so many minefields in that question. Like, first of all, why am I a villain? Second of all, what is the system of life? Is the system of life good or bad? Am I actually fighting a bad system? Does a villain need a superpower? Why? Who? There's a lot of questions that I need answered before I can answer that question. Hi, Naoko. This is almost like a poor man's ratatouille. I mean, ratatouille is a poor man's dish already, actually. When Grandma told me that she thinks she was dying, she also asked for strawberries. I bought her strawberries for like $3 a pound, which I guess it could be worse. It could always be worse. Well, Grandma loves strawberries, so she asked for them. She didn't even remember the name. She was just like, what are those big red things that you used to buy me? And I was like, strawberries? And she was like, yeah. She was like, can I have some? And I was like, they're really expensive right now, Grandma, and they're out of season, so they don't taste great either. And she was like, well, when are they in season? And I was like, summertime? And she was like, I don't know if I'm going to make it till summer. I don't think I'm ever going to eat them again if that's the case. And I was like, holy shit, Grandma, like, if you're going to put it like that, fuck, I'll pay whatever I need to, I guess, for strawberries. Grandma hasn't died. A week and a half have passed. So, was she lying? Or did she just really want strawberries? Either way, she got them. Good job, Grandma. I guess we're making hummus stew because all the chickpeas are disintegrating. I'm like making chickpea shaved ice right now, basically. This is a culinary first for me. Yeah, Grandma has had to be an amazing self-advocate because she's lived through so much. She's lived through war and famine, just repeated offenses against her survival. So she has amazing coping mechanisms in place. Unfortunately, it means that she drives people around her nuts. But a girl's got to do what she's got to do to survive, you know? We respect that. But we also have to respect our own boundaries. And keep in mind, I'm going to put some of our mushroom liquid in. Keep in mind that, you know, we all have our limits. Oh my gosh, you know what I just realized? Since it's basically a soft block of ice, I can just cut it. her childhood stories, yeah, they're mostly about famine and war. I don't want to hear them anymore, honestly. I think we have this fantasized version of like, ask your grandparents for their stories. Learn your family history. And I'm just like, I don't know if I want to learn that shit, bro. It's quite brutal. She like suffers psychotic breakdowns because of how my grandfather was treated by the Red Army. I don't know if I need that. Sounds like history sucks. You know. So maybe let's stop fantasizing about the past. I never liked history as a subject in school, and I think I was well aware of my own limitations and boundaries before I even realized what boundaries were, just by the fact of not wanting to really engage with history, because who needs to learn history when all we do is repeat it? You better not forget history if you don't want it to repeat. I don't know, Christine. I don't know if I agree with that. I think even if we know history, we can't prevent it from repeating. I think history is a product of our nature, which is to say, one that is filled with trauma and insecurity about our eternal march towards mortality. And as long as we cannot come to grips with the fact that we will die and that our time here is uncertain and limited, we will keep repeating history. Not because we're unlearned, but because this is just who we are. We are not smart creatures. We think we're smart because we can create all of these things and constructs and tools and advancements and technology, but like, existentially speaking, we are really dumb. Hello, Minnesota. I'm making a mush stew of all the trash food in our fridge. In my fridge. I use the royal we. I think because royalty likes to refer to themselves as a we, since they are the representative, so-called representative of the people, and it just became the royal we. When you speak only for yourself, but pretend that you are speaking for more people than just you, it is the royal we. Maybe ask her about when she fell in love or in which she felt pretty as a young woman. My grandma had to walk back and forth to work in a factory with her mom from a very young age. She never had time to do anything. She didn't even have enough to eat. You think she had time to think about whether or not she was pretty? I don't mean to be dismissive. I just mean that's the reality of her history. At least what she's saying to me. And honestly, I don't want to ask her about everything, because when grandma goes to tell me stories, they're all of trauma. She doesn't tell me anything that is nice. She is the type of person who holds on to negativity, and I really don't need that in my life right now, unfortunately. Even when she does remember my mom, it's always coming back to how my mom died and why did she die, and I can't handle that, you know? I don't want to handle it. I don't need to handle it. And I think everyone who's telling me to learn from grandma before she dies means well, but it also is not applicable to me. It's just simply not what I want. So I'm gonna let history die because I don't see a need for it. I think current autobiographical fiction can echo history, because I think what I've learned from my mom's death is that ever since she died and remains dead, I begin to finesse my narratives about her that are probably not really accurate to the truth of her existence. But then again, the big question is, who has the ultimate truthful depiction of what life my mom lived and what her inner mind was? Did my mom even know herself what her inner mind was? Was she even aware of where she was taking herself in life? A lot of life is lived forward but told backwards and framed in retrospect. So it is always fictionalized. It is never really a true objective depiction. What grandma remembers probably did happen, but also I can't trust her memory anymore because she remembers a lot of things that other people disagree with in terms of that account. I'm not going to say that she's lying. I'm pretty sure that that is her reality now in her mind. If she's aware enough to tell me a narrative, then that narrative exists in her mind to some degree. But is it truth? I don't know. Is it relevant? Not to me. Will I be sorry if she dies and I didn't get all of the stories and answers? Probably, because when someone dies, when anything ends, we will always have regrets, because we're rushing to fill in this huge blankness that their death and departure left in its wake. So, but does that mean that I should do everything I could to gather all of those possible answers? I don't think so, because I think that is more burdensome to me right now than would be beneficial. So, you know. To each their own. I'm not saying you shouldn't ask your grandparents. I'm just saying I'm not gonna bother. I'm just saying I'm already exhausted from making her food every day and taking her out for walks. And I know that I could be doing more for her, and that this is probably the bare minimum that I could be doing for her, but still, I'm exhausted. So, it's not about me? What does that even mean? Isn't it about me? Is it about you? I think it's more about me than it is about you, right? It's about grandma's last many days? Yo. Okay, cool. No comment. With your mom passing so recently, aren't there things you wish you would have talked to her about or known about her life? Of course. Does that mean that I'm gonna do everything I can to learn everything about every single living relative that is still surviving right now? No, it doesn't. It means that me experiencing that lack of being able to ask my dead mom for answers is a part of grieving. I think my current philosophy is we all live our lives as best as we can. Going forward into the future, we take it as we can. That's it. And in retrospect, we will have regrets. That is just a part of existence. It does not mean that if I tried harder to learn about my mom or like treated her better that I would not have had regrets. I still would have. Maybe I would have had different ones. Maybe I would have had fewer regrets, but I would still have had regrets because that's just a part of grief. Nothing that I do while people are living will prepare me for what will happen to anyone after they die. That is not for me to be prepared for. That is simply something that must be met when the time comes. Do you know how many times when mom was still alive, people told me, don't fight with her, one day you'll regret it? And I acknowledge that to be rationally true, but I still did what I did, you know? Was I a bad daughter? I guess by some measurements, yes. By some criteria, I was a horrible daughter. But by other criteria, I think I wasn't. So whose criteria do we believe in, and does it matter? Is it relevant? I don't think it is anymore. Mom's dead. I'm alive. I deal with the consequences of my action and my past, and I live in the present, and I hope for the future I will make fewer mistakes. But are there any guarantees? Absolutely not. If I tell my friends today who still have living parents, like, yo, I have all these regrets after my mom died, like maybe don't try to have these regrets, do you think any of them will listen? Maybe a couple. But most of us will just continue living our lives the way that we live our lives. So just live your life. Live your life. Don't live mine. You can't live my life. Only I can. Do you think your mother would have considered you to be a bad daughter? I don't think so. I think she would have loved it if I didn't fight with her all the time, not because of, let's put it this way. My mom was always a person who was more likely to blame herself for things than to blame other people for things. So every time we fought, she would take the brunt of that interaction to be her fault somehow. I don't think she thought I was a bad daughter. I think on a lot of levels, she was very proud of me. I think she was delighted in who I had become, but she was also worried for me because of who I had become, because I took more risks and unknowing turns in life than she ever felt comfortable in doing. Or maybe she saw echoes of herself in me, in that she took so many leaps of faith in following my dad around, you know, emigrating out of China and just trying to survive in life, that she didn't want that instability for me. And she was always looking to have me follow a more linear path of success and accomplishment. But that's not for her to decide, and it's also not for me to decide. Genetics set part of it. Society sets another part of it. Events set another part of it. The connections we make with other people and organizations and environments set another part of it. These are all things that we have some control over, but not all control over. So mom blamed herself for a shit ton of things that she definitely didn't need to blame herself for. Shouldn't have blamed herself for if she wanted to live longer, if she wanted to live happier, but she did. That's who she was. That's just who she was. We can feel bad about who she was, or we can just accept the fact that that's how she lived her life. And now her life has ended here, at least in this lifetime. And we are left with these pieces of her to make sense of if we want to, or just to remember her by if we want to, or just let it fade. Again, all choices, but all irrelevant options. It does not matter what you choose, so you choose what feels the best for you. Of course, I'm in agreement with my mom. First of all, she's dead. She can't speak for herself. So I get the free license to project onto her everything that I'm thinking. But second of all, I think just as honestly as I can answer that, I think Mom and I were not the same people, but we were way more similar than she let on. I found out after her death that so many of her choices and actions and personality quirks and even her writing, I reflect a lot of those traits. So, in a lot of ways, I understand Mom better now in her death than I ever understood her while she was alive. Because when she was alive, she was my mother, and in a way, the antagonist to all of my struggles for freedom and personal choices, because she wanted to protect me. But now that that role has been taken away from both of us, maybe some motivations, potential motivations, have clarified. She's thick. She's gonna get even thicker when she cools. Alright, now we're done with dumpling. Let's put our rings back on and thank Mom for this beautiful gold ring. Love the dishwasher. My eczema this winter has been relatively mild. I think in no small part to having a dishwasher. But I swear, if a roach ever crawls out of there, I will fucking scream my head off. Wow. This is like eating soupy mashed potatoes. Strange. Strange. There is a incredible flavor of umami-ness in there right now that I love. And I'm about to fuck it up with some caraway because I'm cray-cray. That was way too much caraway. Let's try to skim some of that caraway off. We do not speak of the mouse. You've not heard of caraway seeds? Like the seeds that they put in Jewish rye bread? Caraway, spelled C-A-R-A-W-A-Y. Caraway? Yes. Gave it a little mintiness, which I like. I think we can still go a little bit heavier on the salt, but I don't want to use salt. Let's use, hell yeah, girl, let's use some fish sauce. We're gonna go crazy. Believe it or not, it already tastes like there is MSG in here. So I'm not going to use granulated MSG, but you know, the fish sauce will also have MSG. Just naturally speaking. Ooh, black salt could be really good, yeah. Let's try it. Do you expect me to not be weird? Who do you think I am? I'm not sure about the difference in fish sauces, so I'm not the person to ask. I'm gonna guess yes. I think even between brands there's probably a difference, so never mind culinary cuisines. Black salt definitely makes it a little bit sulfuric. Definitely immediately colors it with a slightly Indian vibe. Guys, we're approaching 3 hours. I think I'm gonna end this live soon. Thank you for joining me and for putting up with my bullshit as usual, but today especially. Let's hope my period comes soon so that I can start not spazzing out, maybe. I don't want to yell at my ovaries. I don't think doing violence will result in any more peace. Using the master's tools cannot liberate you. Is that how we're quoting that now? Was that a bell hooks quote that I just butchered? The caraway is like a dried mint. Think about caraway as a dried mint with a slightly licoricey sweetness to it. So if you need something that needs a little bit of freshness, it just tastes really earthy and dirt-like in that way, or it feels canned. I like using spices that have a little bit of like a cooling sensation, and caraway is one of those. Audre Lorde. Thank you, Nako. Favorite comedian? I don't think I have a favorite. I really enjoyed Sheng Wang. S-H-E-N-G W-A-N-G. Always like some Asian representation. I do feel like I connect with Asian comedians a lot more, just on a almost unconscious level. And he gives off major Mitch Hedberg vibes. So, love him. He's like the Asian Mitch Hedberg. I also saw another stand-up special that isn't conventional, but I unfortunately forgot his name. He's a white dude, very skinny. I think he has glasses. His whole stand-up routine was backed by this prop setup where his friend made him these little model figurines reminding him of every topic he wanted to do a bit on. Not Joe Coy. Shit. I can't remember him. He's a writer for different kinds of skits and TV shows, I think. Damn it, nobody knows this guy's name, huh? He has a Netflix special. His special is on Netflix. The stand-up follows a very interesting trajectory where it's partially comedy, partially rants, and partially personal autobiography with a lot of confessional elements to it. So it was like the perfect stand-up comedian for me. He's not Asian, he's white. He's a white dude. He talks about his depression a lot, and I love that. I love that stand-up so much. Neil Brennan, that's it. Neil Brennan. If you have Netflix still, look up Neil Brennan's stand-up. I loved it. So him and Sheng Wang have been the top 2 comedians that I watched on Netflix before I canceled my subscription, so I can no longer access any of those stand-ups. But they were good. They were great ones. Fish sauce is good. Mushrooms are fungi. They don't do photosynthesis, which is, I think, the definition of what a plant is. Plants must do photosynthesis. They don't do chlorophyll, so. I don't dislike Jimmy Yang. I don't have to like all Asian comedians, do I? Have fun feeding your cats before they eat you. Cool. I'm gonna pack this up and get ready to go to sleep. And thank you all for tuning in tonight. And how do you hope to use your farm school qualifications? I don't know. We'll see. Wow. I disagree. I always cook my mushrooms with a lot of oil. I like the flavor of fried mushrooms. So I think it's all personal taste. I'm glad you tried fish balls. Gonna leave you. Sorry. Gotta live my own life. Gotta go to sleep. Gotta mental health up myself.